I'm here with Sarah Stollery.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm really good. How are you?
We are celebrating.
Yes.
Today is a good day, KindaSounders. Today is indeed a good day because it is the launch of the Luminous Breath App.
It is.
What does that mean?
Well, it is a breathwork app that I built with my dad. And it is primarily for people who are into cyclic hyperventilation, which I'll explain in a minute. But it does other things as well. So most of the apps on the market that are breathwork specific are, you've got your box breathing, you've got your 4-7-8, you've got your sort of long exhale, that type of thing. And our breathwork app does that, so we have got that. But the reason why we created it is because there isn't an app on the market currently that can handle cyclic hyperventilation, which is a very particular type of breath work. And this is, most people will know this is sort of like a Wim Hof style breath work. So it is defined by a period of over breathing or circular breathing, and then a breath hold out followed by a breath hold in. So that would be one cycle. And then you repeat that for as many cycles as you wish to. And what our app does is it lets you customize each cycle and every element of the cycle. So for example, how many seconds for the inhale, seconds for the outhale, so the outhale, the out breath, the exhale. And then how long you hold your breath out, how long you hold your breath in, how many cycles, and so on. So every single component is customizable. We also have, you can have background music or not, and you can choose from a whole bunch of different background music. So, yeah.
Brilliant.
Does that answer that
Well,
question?
it's a good, it absolutely does. So let's just get into a little bit. What is breath work and why are so many people now doing it?
Good question. Okay, so breathwork is a new term for something that has existed forever. So in old money, you'd probably say pranayama, which is like the yogic word for what we think of as breathing practices.
Yep.
And in the West, we've been practicing pranayama for, since yoga made its debut in whenever the mid-50s, something like that. You would know better than me.
Yeah, probably a little bit before, but yeah.
A bit before. And those types of breathwork are like what I was describing before, that tend to be the slower, more focusing on a longer exhale and a longer inhale. They're not cyclic in that there's no sort of pattern to the breathing and the holding out and so on. So it's just a continuous way of breathing for the entirety of your practice. And then I'm going to say sort of early 2000s, we started hearing more about breathwork, capital B breathwork. Transformational breath maybe was the first one that I heard of as sort of what's the way to describe it? Sort of a technique that was being delivered and you could train in it and so on.
Sure.
But even before that, there was holotropic breathwork, which was being used sort of in the 70s, I want to say. Stanislav Grof came up with that technique, which is about this idea of circular breathing. And then transformational breathwork then combined that circular breathing with the holding out and then creating cycles. I think that's correct. And then Wim Hof kind of further sort of popularized that technique in conjunction with other things like cold plunging and, mindset work and stuff. So now breathwork has come to kind of mean like people are using that term to describe a lot of different things.
Yep.
And that's maybe possibly what's confusing. So I think breathwork is being used to describe old money pranayama.
Yes.
And also this more kind of new technique, which isn't really new.
No.
But just the way that it's being applied is new.
Yep.
Which is this sort of Wim Hof style way of doing it. Does that make sense?
It does. So why are people doing it? What are the benefits?
What are the benefits? Well, that's a good question. So,
how have you benefited? Let's
how
start
have
with
I
that.
benefited?
Yeah,
Okay.
how have you benefited from doing it?
Well, I've been practicing yoga for many, many years. So 20 years, going on 20 years. I trained to be a yoga teacher about in 2014, 15, so over 10 years ago. And I trained in Kundalini Yoga as taught by Yogi Bhajan, which I don't teach anymore, but that tradition is rich in pranayama. It's very focused on breath work. It's a major pillar of that practice, unlike some other forms of yoga. Not as in not only in the asanas, but also as a standalone meditation practice. So I was already doing a lot of breath work. And if you know Kundalini Yoga is taught by Yogi Bhajan, you know that there's like a breathwork practice for everything under the sun. I mean, there's so many of them.
Yeah.
And so over the years, I tried and practiced many, many different ones. People will know Breath of Fire. That's classic Kundalini. There's many other practices. So I was already practicing breathwork, but it was something that I always struggled with in terms of the mind element of it.
Right.
So keeping my mind focused on the practice, not letting it wander, the sort of your classic issues that come up with any meditation, which is sort of staying present, all of that. I always struggled with that, but so does everyone. And then I think it was around COVID time when Wim Hof sort of started popularizing his breathwork technique, which is what I've been talking about, cyclic hyperventilation. And I tried it. I think my dad was practicing it. My brother was practicing it. My brother had done some holotropic breathwork workshops. And I found that it was, for me and for my nervous system, more effective, like many times more effective than the other ways that I've been practicing.
So effective in what way? How were you sort of measuring that?
Well, I would say that because of the phase of the practice that's the over-breathing phase. So for my nervous system, I like having a little bit of activation is a good thing for me because it occupies my mind. So the over-breathing phase, when you're breathing in and out at quite a rapid pace,
Right.
it doesn't give you an opportunity to kind of think about other things or let your mind wander or get off task or stop doing the practice because you're very engaged in continuing to breathe in that way. And during that phase, what happens is that the body becomes flooded with oxygen. So anytime the body's flooded with oxygen, you're going to get a mild activation. You're going to become more energized, more focused. It's very yang. It's sort of like, right? It brings that energy into the body. And then what happens is you exhale 75% of the breath and you hold your breath out. And depending on how able your body is to tolerate carbon dioxide, you can hold your breath out for, anywhere from 45 seconds if you're new to it and you're not quite used to it yet, up to say 2-3 minutes, right? That sounds wild, but it's true.
Yeah, sure.
And as you develop the practice and as you have a longer practice with more cycles, you can hold your breath out for longer and longer. And what happens then is the body becomes very good at tolerating carbon dioxide in those holds out, and that then plunges the body into the rest and digest state. So it turns on the parasympathetic nervous system. So in that over-breathing phase, you're mildly elevating, you're activating your sympathetic nervous system a bit. Then you're driving the body into parasympathetic nervous system.
And you're chilling out. You're just really chilling.
Really chilling. And it's it's the contrast of the two states is what creates this real sense of almost euphoria.
Yep.
I think that they've found that doing breathwork in this way naturally raises levels of dopamine in the brain. So that's always good. We always like a little dopamine hit. And other neurochemicals that are going to make you feel good and feel relaxed. And it was just a very successful way of getting my body sort of down regulating. So, you know, if you're in a state of slight agitation or overwhelm, which is quite common for me, then using that technique to bring the body down, it was just a very successful way of doing that, and it bypassed the mind. So I didn't have to think about it. I didn't have to use my will to concentrate on what I was doing. I just had to follow the instructions.
Yeah. And I think with the app, and it's really makes that so helpful, doesn't it? You know, if you've got an Apple device, right, and you go to the App Store and you go Luminous Breath, you search it on the App Store, then you can have these guided practices where you no longer have to go, oh, what am I doing? Or what am I focusing on? Or, you know, you just follow it.
Yeah.
You just follow the process.
Exactly.
And then you can, as you were saying, you can customize it to your own development or your own needs. So then you've got something that is working with your own system, and then you just do it.
Yeah.
You just do it. And I think that for so many people to have the benefits of a meditative practice, it's becoming increasingly important that people do that. There's an old saying that if you're really busy, meditate half an hour a day. Right? If you're really, really, really busy, meditate an hour a day.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing that we need to be tapping into, that, you know, we're on KindaSound, and it's like that inner source of kindness, the inner source of love, that inner source of peace that is unending, that is infinite, the inner source of joy. It's all within us, the healing. All of these qualities are within us, like that beautiful diamond. But how do we find the diamond? And to occupy the monkey mind in the process. Yeah. Through it, because so many people have said to me over the years, oh, I've tried meditation and I can't, what is it they say? I can't stop my thoughts. Well done, but I'm sure you can't. You know, but it's just then directing it. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Channeling it, focusing it. So it's in the development of the app, right? So you have this idea. You're practicing yourself, you're benefiting yourself, and then you're seeing what's available, and you're saying, well, this isn't good enough. Yeah, the only app that sort of does what our app does is the Wim Hof app, but you have to interact with it. So the way that one works is that when you've done your hold out, so you've done your over breathing phase, which you can customize that part of it, I think, to some degree, but not as fine as ours is. You can choose any number of breaths. You hold your breath out, but you have to then pick the app up and tap the screen to go to the hold in. Oh. So every time you finish the cycle, you've got to interact with your phone. Touch your phone. Yeah. And my dad and I... Wim, what were you thinking? Right. But my dad and I hated that. Like, we didn't want to have to pick our phone up in the middle of our practice because it takes you out of... That's trippy. Right? The good thing about it is that it enables you to vary the hold out every time, so that if you're trying to hold your breath out for longer, then you can do that. I see. So I get why they've done that, but I would rather not. I would rather set the time. I don't really care if I've done a hold out for 1 minute and 46 seconds versus 1 minute and 52. Like, I don't care. Sure. I want to be able to not have to interact with my phone. Yeah. The other thing is that on that app, the music is limited, and
there's other elements of it. So the other one is that you can only choose 3 speeds of breath. There's slow, medium, and fast, I think. Whereas for ours you can, and the inhale and the exhale are equal. Whereas for ours you can have any length inhale and any length exhale, which means that so for me personally, or if I was, so the real reason the app came about was because I teach breathwork as well, and to people who have maybe never done breathwork before.
Yeah. And
I wanted something that I could use with clients that was going to be fully customizable, so I could give them a practice that was perfect for them, but also that they could progress their practice in exactly the way they wanted. So they could add a cycle, they could lengthen the exhale if it didn't work for them, because it doesn't work for everyone necessarily to go straight into intensive circular breathing. Maybe they need to gently have a cycle where they're doing a longer inhale and a longer exhale. So I wanted that to be possible. So for my own practice, I like to have the first round be a more gentle 3-second inhale, 4-second exhale, for example. So I can kind of gently get into it.
Lovely. That's a brilliant thing. So we have got luminousworld.com.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, luminousworld.com is Sarah's website.
Yes.
And from that, you can follow the links through into the app.
Yes.
And also book you for a session.
Yes.
If you want to be sort of guided into the process.
Yes.
And then the app, I mean, the app obviously would just be someone can just follow the app, right? They can just use that. But it seems that it would be very good to have that insight with you, and then to be able to use it as a tool for expansion. Brilliant.
Yeah. So a little bit of guidance just helps you to understand what's going to be most suited to your nervous system. So if we have a little conversation about your nervous system, how it works, what's going to be the most beneficial, because no two people are the same. Everyone needs something slightly different. Then set up a routine to start with, and then a few pointers about how you can then progress that over time, so that you're developing your practice over time. And I do sessions either online or in person. And it was funny because I didn't actually want to do breathwork sessions online or even do one-to-one breathwork sessions. It wasn't really something that I was thinking about, but I had someone who was a client through other work that I was doing, and I really wanted to help her. And this was back in September. And so I said, look, let's do 3 online breathwork sessions to see if I can help you with this issue. And she was like, yeah, great. And we did that. And she was the first person to have the app that was not in our family. And she still uses it every day to this day. And it's had a massive impact on her. And I actually had a Zoom coffee date with her the other day, and she really embraced it. And this isn't going to be for everyone. Not everyone will love it or get it, but for the people who do, I think it could be really life-changing. It has been for me, so I know that it won't be for everyone, but it will be for some people.
That's beautiful. It really is a beautiful thing. So the app is available now. It's Luminous Breath, ladies and gentlemen. Check it out on the App Store. It currently just you need an Apple device. You
do need an Apple device. We don't have an Android version yet. So an iPad or an iPhone will work.
iPad or an iPhone. So I'm looking forward to getting it. I don't have an iPad or an iPhone, but I could borrow Juliet's phone for it.
She's got it on hers. She's been using it.
She's been using it. And also, the other thing I want to mention is that something that is freely available to everyone is the beautiful 20-minute, the 20-minute introduction that we did. Which is a really amazing practice of getting you into the process of breath work with wonderful backing music. Craig Press sent us the Cosmic Pulse, the sound of the universe that's in the backing sounds to it. So that's really quite amazing. So luminousworld.com. Now you also, Sarah, I just want to, as though we're talking about the breath work today, you're teaching yoga still?
Yes, I'm teaching yoga locally. So I teach in Newport at the moment, which near Saffron Walden. And I will be teaching in Bishop Stortford at the Hot Pod but that won't probably be for a while yet. I also have gongs, so my gongs get around. Yes. They really do. And I'm doing a lot of that at the moment. Lots of people want gong. So, so I do gong baths, I do workshops and teach yoga as well.
And massage.
And massage, yes.
Massage as well. A lady of many talents. And we had...
maybe too many things.
And we had, well, you know, I think it's good. It keeps life interesting.
Yeah.
And one thing often connects to another, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So if you do yoga, then you're going to be into the breath and you're going to be into sound. And these things all start to...
True. They all tessellate.
They all start to combine, don't they? So that is an amazing thing. And we had a great time recently in Glastonbury.
We did.
At Juliet's Cacao, Sacred Cacao. We had a lot of fun. And sharing the yoga vibes and the music and the gongs and the food. All of these things, bringing all of these things together, I think. The breath work, all of these things. Deep relaxation, you know, sacred sites. Just absolutely amazing. So, well, thank you for sharing that information.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
luminouswell.com, ladies and gentlemen. Get on the App Store, Luminous Breath. Check it out and let us know what you think.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you.